This is a nice view of your office, Larry. I don't think I've seen this.
It's the slowly working out the video kinks here.
Yeah, it's professional, man. You're a real professional.
Okay.
Although I do,
a real professionals cough right into their podcast mics. Really good.
I should have a cough button. Hold on a second.
He probably does have a cough button. That's what I'm saying. Like he's got a true setup. He's got three monitors. Look at that.
You can't podcast from 20 feet away.
Is that a printer? What is that white thing? What
behind me?
Okay, Ariel. I mean, it's not that.
Right next to you. Of course, it's a printer. What do you
mean? Is that a printer?
I mean, who has a printer anymore?
I have a printer.
I have a printer.
Oh, I don't.
What the hell? You don't have anything you can't print anything in your house?
I go to the library.
Oh my gosh. What a socialist. Freaking.
I can't remember the last time I've been to the library.
Wow.
If I need to print something, I go to the library.
Oh, I just learned something new about you. Wow.
I actually did get a printer off Buy Nothing, but I couldn't figure out how to hook it up. So I gave it back to Buy Nothing.
Ariel, you don't have to live like this.
I will say that printers suck. Like they've just been like, I have a nice one and it sucks.
Well, that's the point. You can't get a nice one. People always want these, like Larry's. Larry's a little older, I think, but nowadays, like you need one that can do all this kind of stuff. I have one. It was $99. It's just does black and white. It just prints paper. And I've had that cartridge.
Are more expensive than you.
No, but I've had that cartridge that came with it since I got it 2 years ago, and it's not run out yet. And I print a lot of stuff. And the cartridges I think are $40. I print recipes.
Yeah, what do you print?
I print, lists of things. I print
work.
When I'm doing little arts and crafts projects, I might print something. I do. I print probably 3 pages a day.
Really?
Whoa, you print way more than the average work from home person, I would guess.
Very rarely print.
Yeah.
Man, the internet's gonna eat this up. They're gonna love this.
What is the topic?
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta let us ease into it, Larry.
Yeah. Haven't you ever heard of
a cold open?
I'm afraid to ask.
I like Larry. I don't want to give you too much shit, but I do like that you kind of have a flex in all of these meetings. Like when you're at home, you've got all your like weights behind you. Mm-hmm. Your set of kettlebells.
When he's at his condo, he's got, the beach behind him.
Yeah. And then here you've got your printer and your 3 monitors.
Yeah. It's subtle dominance.
Yeah. He's always trying to flex on
we see
everyone around him.
I've learned from the master of Arnold.
Oh.
Can I tell you, that's a pet peeve of mine when you're on the phone with somebody and they go, I'm like, I can't hear you. You're breaking up. And they go, how about now? I don't know. Talk more. Read the Pledge of Allegiance. I can't tell. You've said one word. That's a pet
peeve. Have you ever printed out a list of your pet peeves?
No, but I could. I could do it right now
with
the original
wall
canister
next to him, probably.
Yeah.
How is it now?
I don't need a list of my pet peeves. All right, Larry. Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah. Who are you?
Good question.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Larry Ludwig. What else do you want to know about me?
Oh,
everything.
It's going great.
Start from the beginning.
Well, you see that my mom and dad.
What's your zodiac?
No, not
sign?
that far.
What was my what? Zodiac is a Gemini.
Oh, a Gemini. Okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean, Ariel? What does that mean about him? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought you were the.
I don't know.
Do we need to give Larry an intro? We're just.
Yeah, Larry needs an intro. So Larry Ludwig. What do you do? What's your relationship to Millennial Money Man? Are we your favorite client? Why are we your favorite client?
I am the tech guru, I think is the best way to put it.
Tech guru is a good way to put it. Yeah.
Bobby has any questions, I give him answers.
That's right.
Wow. What if
About
we have
anything
what if
in life?
Ariel and I have questions? Sucking up to the guy who writes the checks, I guess.
Exactly. Well, Michael writes the checks too.
Yeah, I normally hit pay on your invoice, actually. So
you have the veto power.
Yeah. So Larry's.
I mean, I can give my life story. I started a business in 1997 with a friend of mine, a web hosting business, nonetheless. And from that web hosting business, grew that to a point where in 2009 got really frustrated with the clientele I was working with, and I was developing websites for others. And from there, didn't see the money coming in that they were coming in with, in terms of ad revenue. Some of them were affiliate, and built my own blog, Investor Junkie, in 2009. And at the time was just going to showcase my talents for web hosting, and ultimately built into a business into itself, and sold that business in 2018.
Web hosting is something like nowadays we don't think about an individual providing for us. What would you say is like, why was that something that was so lucrative at the time?
Well, it wasn't.
You said 2000.
That was the problem.
So it wasn't even a good idea. Then.
It was always a commodity. I mean, even to this day, I'm so old that I had to actually, install servers, build servers, and put them in data centers, where nowadays everything's cloud-based. So if you have a web hosting company like WP Engine, they use Amazon AWS to host their stuff. So for me, I'm so old school that I had stuff in a data center, physical servers, had multiple data centers around New York, where I'm based out of. And from there, built out.
Kind of like business. Hillary did?
Sort of, yeah.
He has a server in his basement.
I didn't have I do have a server in my basement, but I didn't host customers on it.
Okay.
Good point. But yeah, I sort of like that. I mean, the first server I had actually was hosted in the data center, but it was in their office. And at one point they turned it off by mistake.
Oh, well, so nowadays you provide us, analytical reports and help us with all manner of tech needs. And you split your time between Long Island, Florida.
At times, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm mostly New York.
I mean,
living the life. I mean, obviously since selling in 2018, really, doing projects that I find interested in.
You're balling now is what you're trying to say.
You're
balling out of your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they, obviously drive my Porsche. And,
he dropped it. He dropped it. He's got it, though.
It took 12 minutes and 59 seconds.
Well, I think this is actually the perfect segue to today's question. Larry, I mean, I'm sure you have been a listener to this podcast since the very beginning. The premise for the show is that we go over a potentially questionable decision and weigh in on it. All right. Give our thoughts. I was thinking about how, balling you live your life.
Ballin', no G.
Ballin'.
Yeah,
how you're balling.
You don't want to be someone who is balling. That's a different thing.
That's a negative thing.
I'm not crying. Yeah.
No, that's true.
That's one,
Yeah. All right. So since you're balling, Larry, and you have this, you've got a Porsche, I feel like you will have some
Porsche.
Damn it.
Is it okay? I've always wondered about that. Before we go on, is it one of those things you could say it either way?
It's like if you own one, you add that at the end.
Well, I mean, there are for the most part Porsche. I've seen some. Yeah, there are some people that do still pronounce it Porsche.
But those are people that don't own them, right?
The ones who own them say Porsche.
Yeah, okay. My realtor owns a Porsche, and she's a member of the Porsche Club, and she goes to North Carolina with her Porsche.
Well, I think it's a difference between like if people were walking around saying Tesla instead of Tesla, and you're like, it's a Tesla,
It's the German version, I guess, the German pronunciation. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So Larry, tell me, before I get into this, tell me about your Porsche.
Well,
what year is it?
It's a 2015. The goal was to buy a Porsche. I always wanted a Porsche ever since a little kid. I wanted other cars too, but from my end, wanted a Porsche because it kind of it signified some milestone that I achieved. My thing was I bought it actually before I sold the business officially, but where I was at financially, I could easily afford it, and bought that Porsche because if it was just a milestone, it meant many things to me. One is it meant my success in my business. The other was it was also something that I always wanted as a child. And third, something that I know my father, who passed away, it would have been 10, 15 years prior, never got to do. So it was something I knew I wanted to achieve.
Well,
so it was totally emotional. It was not financial. Obviously it's a horrible, cars are not cheap by any means, especially Porsches. But that being said, it's something I enjoy. I use from time to time.
Yeah, but what kind is it?
At the time, there's I think there were 32 different versions of the Porsche 911.
Whoa.
And I have the Turbo S, which is the more touring car where it's not necessarily as harsh as a ride compared to the GT3, but it's not as slow or casual as, say, a Carrera. Carrera is the lower end of the models, where the Turbo S is kind of the higher end of the model.
Carrera is for the poor people. You're saying?
Basically, yeah. The poor man. It's not the poor man's Porsche, but it's the poorer version of the Porsche.
Oh, okay.
This is not the questionable decision, but this brings up a topic that my husband and I talk about a lot. The Porsche Panamera. Is that how you pronounce it?
Porsche-ah is how you pronounce it.
Porsche Panamera, the sedan. I don't think that is a true Porsche. I think that is horseshit, and that they should stick to, the two doors. What do you think about that? This is not at all related to this podcast.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't for the Cayenne and the Panamera, I don't think Porsche would be around today as it is.
But do you laugh at those people that you see driving those? Like, you're not really.
I mean, I don't make fun of them. I mean, obviously they're
out loud.
No.
It's amazing how
would they be allowed in your club?
Ariel's so free love and everything, and she's mocking people who drive the Porsche sedan.
Exactly.
Wow.
How dare they?
Elitist much, Ariel?
I mean, it's not a sports car, but it is a sporty car.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll grant you that.
Are the Cayennes are they nice? Like, are they better than like a BMW SUV or a Mercedes?
Well, it's not SUV. The Cayenne, yes, the SUV.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind, it's also built on the same as the Touareg Volkswagen, right? The Volkswagen and the Audi and the Porsche Cayenne are all the similar car. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they all have stakes in each other, and I don't remember the exact relationship, but each shares parts and shares cars. So that being said, you're really buying with, just like GM has, in my case, the Escalade's the top end model, the GMC is the middle model, the Suburban's the lower end model. And, same thing with Porsche and, VW and Audi. Volkswagen's the low end, Audi's the middle tier, Porsche's the high end.
That was a very casual way to drop that you drive an Escalade also.
Yes, I have a love for big cars and cars in general. Not necessarily economical. I don't have a Tesla.
You haven't mentioned the small Cessna that you hop around in.
I don't have a Cessna.
Okay.
No.
Let me take us back to our questionable decision, though, because this is about classic cars. This is from Reddit's Am I the Asshole? Larry, are you familiar with Am I the Asshole on Reddit?
Unfortunately, yeah, I am.
Okay, good. So this question is, am I the asshole for refusing to sell my classic car against my wife's wishes and at the same time not sympathizing with my stepdaughter over her car getting broken into? So that's the big question.
Those are two
Yes,
can we break those down?
Yes.
That's too complicated.
I know. I'm going to read the full question to you.
Oh, that was the headline.
That's the headline. Yeah. Okay. And the first sentence they write is, there is a lot here. So yes, there is. I live with my wife of 6 years and her 19 and 14-year-old daughters. My kids live with their mom and they are irrelevant to the story.
That's quite a sentence to type out.
Before I met my wife, I bought a restored 67 Corvette. I love the car and I enjoy going to car shows in the summer. My wife has never been a fan of it. She doesn't see the point to it and constantly argues with me about how it takes up space in the garage. She has talked to me multiple times about selling it and I have never budged. Financially, we are in a good position and do not need to sell the car. My wife basically sees it as a lump sum of cash that sits in the garage when ideally we could use the money for something that benefits the family. My wife is obsessed with cleaning and not having junk, and she sees the car as unneeded clutter. We have a 2-car garage. My wife tends to park in the garage next to my Corvette. I park my daily car in the driveway along with my stepdaughter's car. Last week, this fight about my Corvette came to a head. My stepdaughter's car got quote unquote broken into, and she ended up getting her purse with $200 cash stolen. I quoted broken into because she left her car unlocked, I later found out. But she was crying to my wife about wanting to park in the garage. My wife came to me and said, we don't have the space for the Corvette and suggested we sell it and extend our garage since we have the land for it. That way, everyone's cars can be parked safely inside. I refused and said it's not my problem that the stepdaughter didn't lock her car. My wife thinks I'm being an asshole. I told her the car isn't going anywhere and she can work out with her daughter who gets to park in the garage space amongst themselves. Am I the asshole? So
I have one comment. I mean, it's a 2-car garage, so by very nature, right? Assuming they split the purchase of the house, technically 50%
Oh my
of the
gosh.
house is.
I love this.
Oh man,
Wow.
that's great.
Yeah.
But it is his side of the garage. I mean, if you're gonna have a car, granted, he could park his other car in there daily. So what prevents him from doing that?
Well, because they split it, and he's got one side for the Corvette and one side for.
No, I'm saying
the other half.
Yeah, if she parks her car in the garage every day, and then he has 2 cars. Now, granted, we could discuss whether or not he needs that second car, but he parks a car in that garage daily. It's his car, so what's the issue? I mean, she's asking for him to sacrifice parking his car, be it again whatever car it is, in the garage as opposed to his now stepdaughter.
Oh.
Yeah.
But the car is technically 50% hers, right? So,
well, we don't know if it was bought before. It sounded like it was bought before marriage.
Yeah. Before I met my wife, I bought and restored
before.
a 67 Corvette.
And he restored it. Like, I mean, you're talking about a guy who loves a car.
Yeah.
This much, especially.
what, Larry? Have you ever been into like restoring anything or wanting to do that?
I've had old cars over the years, and they were just big money pits that I threw money down.
What's the most expensive upgrade you put on a car? The one you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't do this, but let's
I
do
really
it.
don't do, like, even the Porsche. I mean, you can get a lot of aftermarket stuff. I mean, I've done a few things here and there, but nothing crazy. Just, visual elements, not like a, bigger exhaust or better exhaust turbocharger or anything like that.
We're contemplating getting like a professional paint job done. We have a 69 MGB and having that painted professionally. And it would be like $15,000 minimum. And the car, I mean, we've never recoup it, but it would look so nice,
Damn, I got to get into painting cars. Holy crap.
I mean, if it's something you're never going to sell, why not? But if
I think it would be great.
Do you ever drive this thing?
Yeah. Are you
drive it?
You're like cruising around downtown St. Louis in it?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it's a 2-seater, so like you can't. We've got
All
3
those
kids.
kids are going to be
can't use
gone
it
before
often.
you know it. Hopefully,
this is the car we take out to cruise around in. It like my dad he hand built the engine, like most of the parts, and like tooled them specifically. And then we had all that sent somewhere to have it put together after he passed. So there's the sentimental attachment to it, like Larry's car. But it is just fun to drive, and it is very fast. It like is really happy at like 75 to 90 miles per hour, and it's really fun to drive that fast. But back to our questionable decision.
I have something else to add. I mean, in my case, right, we have a house currently that I can't even fit any car in that garage. So we have a 1-car garage. Not only is it small, but it's full of crap in it anyways. So I actually wound up buying the office that I'm sitting in now, which is technically a condo, because it had an extra parking spot in the garage down the basement. So I bought the condo and used that to park my Porsche.
So maybe the solution for this guy is buy a house.
buy a separate condo or a house and get over it. Yeah.
Man,
if you can afford it.
I mean, he did say that they're doing well financially, that they're in a good position. So.
Okay, honey, I know you keep riding me to get rid of this car. How about instead we buy the 2-bedroom down the street? And
well, they actually said add additional garages to the house.
But she wanted to sell the car to pay for that, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
They want a 3-car garage, and he has to get rid of his car in order to pay for it.
Quick side note, Larry, how do you feel about the new Corvette?
I like it to a degree. I think it was way overdue for a mid-engine car. I like the Z06 model especially. It's definitely, Porsche and Corvette have always had this competitiveness between the two models.
Really?
And yeah, I mean, if I had my choice, I would like to get a Corvette, the new ones.
Why don't you have your choice? Didn't you buy a house for your car?
I could.
You'd have to buy
I
another
couldn't-
house.
It's certainly cheaper. I mean, you could definitely buy a Z06 probably for under 200,000. So they're relatively
Whoa.
they're
Okay.
a bargain compared to say a Ferrari, which you can't really. You can buy them; they look nice, but they certainly don't perform. You need a lot of maintenance and a lot of tender loving care to them.
Okay.
Where a Corvette you'll probably really beat on, like a Porsche too. That's one of the reasons why I decided to get a Porsche, say, compared to a Ferrari. Ferraris are great to look at, horrible to maintain and drive.
What about cars? I mean, they're cool, and I know you mentioned some wanting them since childhood. But do you like the motor, the move? Like, is it the motor and the sound and the roar, the purr of it, or would you be interested in a Model S Plaid? Like, you just like going fast? You like cool? Do you like the?
Ironically, the Turbo S, the Porsche that I have, is not the best sounding Porsche. If you want really the best sounding Porsche, it's a GT3 because that's all non-turbo. And honestly, a lot of people complain, and I sort of agree with the sentiment. For Turbo S, it sounds like a vacuum cleaner. And a lot of people go for the third-party or aftermarket mufflers, where I've kept mine stock. Yeah, it definitely is part of the noise. It definitely helps. I mean, it's the performance, the speed. It's not. I mean, Teslas are great going in a straight line, especially the Plaid. But honestly, they're not. They don't handle that well. Porsche handles excellent. Not only goes fast, but handles the curves very well. The overall visceral experience you get from a car that a Tesla definitely lacks. It's very. What's the correct? It's very
Square.
not square. It's very
Basic.
basic. You don't really
Okay,
feel
let's
you
not
don't
go that
have
far.
much. Yeah, you don't have much. There's not much feedback, right?
They
There's
feel
not-
like a golf cart. That's what
yeah.
every
It's
time.
basically a glorified golf cart.
I actually I agree with that, and that is why I like mine so much. It is. I just like pop around town in a golf cart. I love it.
Declan did say that he had a lot of fun driving the Tesla that we rented. I mean, he likes a car that really drives and that has that feedback, but he did enjoy the Tesla. So that makes you feel
They're
better.
different. They're interesting, for sure.
I mean, I have bigger issues more with not maintenance, but more just daily usage of a Tesla for me. Like I would not, for my family, I have a family of 5 total, including myself. And it's very hard to, and we're all big as me, right? I'm 6'3". My wife is 6 foot. My oldest is now 6 foot.
Damn,
1.
Larry.
Yeah. So we need a big car, right? Again, to even think about getting the Model X, it's just not reality. It would not fit 3 people in the back.
No, you need a Rivian
Right.
R1S. That's what we're gonna get you next, Larry.
Yeah. But even then, the problem I have is like if we went to a vacation in Pennsylvania from New York, we would have had to probably charge 2 or 3 times with a Tesla, where, with the Escalade, I was, at a gas station.
With the
pumped up
what? What was
gas
that?
and
What was that you drove?
filled up the gas and didn't have to wait 30 minutes
Yeah.
to recharge it.
Yeah. That's what they all complain about.
Well,
I mean,
the
we-
cold.
we
Well,
did
that
that.
is true, though.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ariel.
Oh, I was just say we rented a car. We rented a Tesla to drive down to Florida from St. Louis and had 4 or 5 charging stops along the way. And it was like it was just definitely a different way to travel. I mean, like stop. Okay, we're going to like have lunch now or something, or we're going to stop and just like stretch our legs. But my husband is like he would drive, if he could drive for 12 hours straight and with no stops, like that's what he would prefer to do. And so this was like kind of killed him a little bit. But I mean, it was cheaper actually than driving our car.
But the other thing
which was
is,
great.
and we're way off here, but on topic here. But if you have to have the long range for obviously for a long trip,
Mhm.
but a long range will get you on the interstate 3.5 to 4 hours away. And I think at 4 hours, you're ready to stop. I'm ready to stop for 20, 30 minutes, which is all you really need typically to fill up.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a different way to travel. I like to take it a little slower.
I mean, you ever heard of the Cannonball? I know we're kind of varying off on different
Oh, yeah.
topics.
Mhm.
The Cannonball, not the real Cannonball. There's actually obviously the Burt Reynolds movie from the 80s, but there's a real Cannonball that started in mid 70s and then started up again. Actually, there's a different Cannonballs where they the goal is to get from New York to LA as quick as possible.
Declan and his brother signed up to do a scooter one the year that COVID hit, and they were going to be
So
on.
it's basically the same.
Declan was on a 57, was going to be on a 57 Vespa, and Wes was going to be on like a 61 Vespa or something, and they were just going to break down the whole way. But it went New York to like Washington State or something. But
jeez, that's crazy. So there's a record that someone did with a Tesla. So they electrified car to do from New York to LA, and I forget how many hours it took them. I think they did it in, I want to say 50 hours.
The one thing, I'm not a battery engineer here, but the thing I just don't understand is why can't they just add more battery? Like, why isn't there like the trunk space? Why can't just a battery go there? Then you can go further.
Yeah,
that's more weight.
It's more weight.
All right. Well, there you go. I've always wondered that. Now I won't wonder that anymore. All right, back to the ask. I mean, I think this guy got married 6 years ago. They seem like they had their own lives, probably divorced, or maybe their spouses passed away, and really independent tracks, it seems like. But for her to actually suggest that he sell it and not put any value in the fact that he restored it and cares about it, that's not good. But then to say, I would almost give her like, okay, yeah, it's a little annoying, you don't get it, but she wants him to sell it to pay for to extend their garage so that they can park their regular 3 cars in there. She's the asshole. He's not the asshole here, in my opinion. You think he's the asshole for not wanting to give up his Corvette?
Really?
No, but I mean, it's like if I knew that I was inconveniencing my wife, like, or if this thing that I don't use is kind of like causing this problem. Let me answer, Michael. Shut up.
Your answer is wrong, Bobby.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If I felt like if it was something that bothered me that much, I would be like, you know what? Like, what's some kind of compromise I can come up with here? Like, is there some kind of storage place I can put it in? There's something I can do? Because like, if I'm not using it, like, come on. Now, I think that she probably, I don't know. I think this is like an easily solvable thing if he would just be like, yeah, I'm not actually using it. And then I think that he's created the situation where she's pissed off about it because he hasn't budged on it. So like, you can avoid the situation pretty easily. I think if you just decided to like what do you care if it's in the garage? You don't use it. Like that part doesn't make sense to me, but I'm also not a car collector.
I think she's the asshole because I think she's got some drama, some other beef with her husband and the car. She's taking it out on the car situation, and she's trying to like exert some like control over their relationship or situation. Maybe she's unhappy with his relationship with the stepdaughter. I mean, the stepdaughter's an idiot for leaving her car unlocked and her purse with $200 in cash in it. Like, that was a dumb move. And then to like, well, you need to sell your car so that my daughter can park her car safely inside of somewhere. Like, those things don't connect to me. And I think that I think she's not in the right in this situation. I do think maybe they explore other ways to house the car, but I don't think that just because he doesn't maybe use it regularly, which we don't know, that wasn't made clear, that he needs to get rid of it. Like, that's not an everyday car. I think generally that she's in the wrong here.
I'm going to have to side with, I think she is the asshole. I guess in terms of making demands, especially that he had the car, if this is something that he bought post-marriage or restored post-marriage, I think she would have more of a valid argument. But she knew what she was getting into, where she probably didn't like the car from go for one reason or another. I mean, my wife is not a car fanatic either, so I get that aspect. But we've never had a fight over it's either the car or or me type of thing. I think that's silly. To your point, Ariel, I think that's more of a indication of other issues in the relationship than purely.
Also, Ariel, can we go over the ages of those two kids? 14 and 19, I think.
Yeah.
So the 14-year-old doesn't have a car. So this is the 19-year-old.
It's the 19-year-old.
How about this 19-year-old gets out of the damn house? Move out. Bye. I mean, Ariel, I know this is a sensitive topic for you, but.
No, I would like my 19-year-old out of the house. My 19-year-old and her girlfriend out.
That's what I mean is like this is like a non-issue that she's making a big issue. But, I think they probably have bigger problems like Ariel said, and that this is just sort of the the outcome of those problems, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make it.
I love it.
Long-term.
I love the picture I always love with all these "Am I the asshole?" questions is the guy got done with the argument and he went into his little office and he went, read it. I'm going to see if I'm the asshole or if she's the asshole. It's like the typing of the message is so indicative that there are big problems here to actually type all that out.
Mhm.
Well, I find fascinating. Social media is kind of, and Reddit being part of it, is the just people wanting to divulge things that, 10, 20, 30 years ago, people would never divulge to anyone, let alone online. I find that fascinating that people are divulging stuff that personally I don't think should be online.
Well, that probably makes it a lot easier to divulge online as opposed to
though, because if it lives forever, right? You can you look up someone's name and find out who that person is. I mean, Reddit not being
they got an alt.
People post stuff. Yeah, people post on, social media all the time, things that just honestly they shouldn't be posting.
Well, so Bobby, you're still on the other side of the fence here.
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. I just think this guy's like, come on, dude, just shut up about your car.
Maybe his wife has like a massive quilting fabric collection, and he's like, we could have sold all your quilting fabric to add onto the garage.
So he should throw something back in her face. That's how he.
The way that he even typed this message, like this guy's probably a jerk. Like I don't know, just the way he was like, oh, they're irrelevant. Like this guy probably sucks. Like,
I think he means that they're irrelevant to this topic, which
Yes,
I agree.
I
They're
know,
irrelevant here.
This guy probably
It helps our
I wouldn't
punchline,
wanna hang out
Errol.
with this guy.
Let's say it.
He's a Corvette owner, so that explains it all anyway.
There you go.
Yeah. I just don't think that he's probably that fun of a person to be around. If I had to guess, I still blame him. Like, come on, get over yourself.
All right. Well, there you have it.
All right. Well,
who knows if he's the asshole or not.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks, Larry. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for pitching in to this insanity. Thanks for all of you listening. I'm sure you've stuck around this long. We got all kinds of great content coming out on our YouTube channel. So you can see a video version of this podcast there, and you can see all of our other videos. And if there's anything that you want to hear us talk about on this podcast, feel free to email us at hello@millennialmoneyman.com. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.